By the way, are you going to sue Justin Bell, or are you going to sue Blake Lively too, into oblivion? Megan, wait till you see this lawsuit. Oh boy, for what? I I'm just going to tell you're going to have to wait and see. It's coming up soon. You'll be getting a subpoena. Soon, I have these excellent new attorneys, and they found possible evidence tampering in my case. Hello, Darren, my fiance's private plane. Oh, and if you don't come, I'm going to have to sue you into oblivion for using my name and likeness without my express written consent. Hey besties, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball, and welcome back to my channel. I've literally always wanted to start a video with Hey besties, because you are all truly my besties. This weekend was absolutely booming over on my Instagram. Are you following me there yet? I do a lot of my pre-video breakdowns and coverage about Miss Lively and Mr. Baldoni and their case. I share exclusive clips and videos to give you a sneak peek of what's coming next, so definitely check out Without a Crystal Ball on Instagram for early access content. This weekend turned out to be eventful because the sequel to A Simple Favor dropped. Blake Lively was clearly trolling in her latest movie, and it appears she added the phrase, "sue you into oblivion," during post-production. That phrase was originally said by Mr. Brian Friedman in interviews around December and early January. Since the post-production for Another Simple Favor wrapped in late January, there was plenty of time to add voiceover audio and splice it in if her mouth wasn't visible, making it seem like it was said during the original filming. And it looks like that happened. Not once, but twice. Once relating to a subpoena over evidence or witness tampering, and again with the now infamous line, "sue you into oblivion." If you're asking whether this is trolling, yes, I absolutely believe it is. That line appears twice in Blake's amended complaint, which clearly indicates it seriously bothered her. In her amended complaint, she actually writes, "On information and belief, all defendants actively participated in this enhanced retaliation campaign. Defendants' counsel threatened numerous lawsuits to sue Miss Lively and others into oblivion, and proceeded to file 4 lawsuits in 3 jurisdictions, with fantastical damages of hundreds of millions of dollars in each later." In paragraph 304, she again mentions that defendants have further pursued their public strategy through frivolous litigation designed to create press attention, intimidate others from coming forward, and pressure Miss Lively to abandon her claims. Defendants' counsel threatened to file numerous lawsuits to sue Miss Lively and others into oblivion with the intent and effect of intimidating others with information about Wayfarer from speaking out. So if this phrase is supposed to be such a threatening, intimidating tactic, you wouldn't think she'd turn around and insert it into a new movie. And yet, that's exactly what Blake Lively did. She's making a mockery of the whole situation. And despite her apparent trolling of Mr. Baldoni in this film, which is getting panned, by the way, the reviews have been awful. It's receiving abysmal ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, and Letterboxd. Many are calling it one of the worst movies they've ever seen. According to The Independent, Blake doesn't currently have any upcoming projects. She has no confirmed acting roles, film contracts, or anything in development. This could end up being her final movie for quite a while. In fact, The Independent, which is based in the UK, even implied it would be best for her to just disappear for a bit. Meanwhile, Blake's bestie Taylor Swift has now reportedly been subpoenaed, and more subpoenas appear to be coming. That might explain why Travis Kelce recently unfollowed Ryan Reynolds. According to the Daily Mail, he whose reporting should always be taken with some skepticism, they've exclusively revealed that Taylor Swift, arguably the most powerful woman in entertainment, has been pulled into this escalating drama. She's been subpoenaed by Baldoni's legal team and is now required to sit for a deposition under oath with Baldwin's top attorney, Brian Friedman. Not a pleasant process. Friedman is one of the most aggressive and high-profile litigators in the entertainment industry. If you ever find yourself up against a massive entity or celebrity and you're the underdog, he's the type of attorney you'd want. His specialty is crisis litigation, these exact types of cases. He handles scandals and is known for his strategic public-facing interviews. He's not just the legal mind behind the lawsuits, he's their public voice. Friedman's firm is based in California, but there's also a team in New York. If a lawyer hasn't passed the bar in a particular state but is admitted to federal court, they can still appear in that state's federal court, with permission, as long as they have a local attorney partner. That's what's happening here. The attorneys from Mester, Sealing, and Fain PLLC in New York are managing filings, and lawyers like Mitchell Schuster and Kevin A. Fritz have been heavily involved. There's also an entertainment lawyer from California named Matitra, who's working as an out-of-state counsel. She was even spotted at the premiere, reportedly in the basement with Wayfair. These attorneys are extremely expensive, easily charging over $1,000 per hour. Both sides are likely spending millions on this litigation. With all the filings, discovery, depositions, and witnesses involved, total legal costs could reach into the tens of millions of dollars, which makes sense given the damages being sought are in the hundreds of millions. So yes, Taylor Swift has reportedly received a subpoena. A source told the Mail, Taylor Swift has now been subpoenaed. Some subpoenas are being sent this week, and depositions are being scheduled. People often try to push back, but it's very hard to get out of it. They added that Travis Kelce is also expected to be subpoenaed, as are Blake and Reynolds' friend Hugh Jackman, and potentially others like Gigi Hadid and Bradley Cooper. Here's what you should know. Federal subpoenas are not public records. They're not filed in court unless attached to a motion or exhibit, so we often don't know who received them unless it leaks. But we do know that Marvel and one of Blake's companies have filed motions, so someone is definitely getting served. Leslie Sloan told the court she received disclosures from Wayfair naming 150 potential witnesses. That's a huge number, though it will be narrowed down eventually. If Taylor ends up giving a deposition, and if Travis does too, it could say a lot. What exactly did Travis know, aside from just dating her during the film's timeline? Taylor Swift was reportedly at the Penthouse during the early pre-production stages. Blake had invited her to discuss the script, and a rooftop scene she claimed her husband Ryan rewrote. Present at that meeting were Ryan Reynolds and Taylor, who both supposedly praised the script and encouraged Baldoni to accept the rewrite. Taylor later denied this, saying she was tricked into attending and only greeted Baldoni briefly as a formality. That contradicts what Baldoni's legal team claims, which is that she actively endorsed the rewrite. If that's true, she'll be questioned about that meeting, her communications with Blake, and whether Blake ever alleged sexual harassment against Baldoni, and what specifically she said, if anything. According to sources, this summer will be full of subpoenas and depositions, and there's no sign that Blake's side wants to settle. That surprises many, as a settlement could minimize damage. Apparently, Hugh Jackman may be pulled in over his character in Nice Pool, particularly regarding the man bun joke, which some believe mocked Baldoni. Marvel's still trying to get out of that. What's odd is Taylor's silence. When Kesha accused Dr. Luke of SA, Taylor donated $250,000 to support her and made a public statement. But here, she's stayed silent. No public defense of Blake. Her PR team did issue a statement saying she didn't want to be involved. At the same time, Travis Kelce and Taylor distanced themselves. He unfollowed Blake and Ryan. Blake unfollowed Travis. Reynolds still follows Kelce, but it's clear there's friction. Gossip columnist Rob Shooter claims that Gigi Hadid had to pick between Blake and Taylor, and chose Taylor. Gigi and Taylor go way back, longer than Blake's friendship with either of them. Over the weekend, more details emerged, including from a paparazzo named Richard. He claims Blake and Selena Gomez had a falling out years ago when Blake made a snide comment. Selena then warned Taylor not to trust Blake, saying she was opportunistic, especially when she started claiming her daughters were Taylor's godchildren. Selena's been skeptical of Blake for a while, so she likely won't be upset if Taylor cuts ties with her. Last week, Blake had another PR blunder on Seth Meyers. She told a story claiming her daughter shares a birthday with Napoleon Bonaparte and Jennifer Lawrence, joking that her daughter is a funny little tyrant. But that exact story, almost word for word, was told by Ryan Reynolds in December in an interview with Andrew Garfield. He claimed his daughter had the same birthday as Napoleon Dynamite. The problem? None of their children were born in August. One was born in December, one in February, another in September, and the last in October. But none in August. This is an issue because it's easily fact-checkable. If you're trying to be taken seriously in court, telling unverifiable stories about your child's birthday on national TV does not help your credibility. Blake herself admitted in a 2017 Glamour interview that she and Ryan often fabricate stories for the media. When asked about Ryan's tweets, she said he was just making things up. None of it was about their actual kids. She even joked he might as well work for a tabloid. She said they lie to the media all the time just to make each other laugh. So using an easily disprovable story on national TV about your child being a tyrant, while you're involved in a lawsuit where credibility matters, is not smart. She has also previously admitted in a Simple Favor promo that she lies to journalists' faces because they don't fact-check. So when you look at it all, the Nice Pool parody, the new film mocking the lawsuit, Ryan's SNL joke about the scandal, it all paints a picture. I'm not a psychologist, but Ryan may be a sociopath, maybe even a psychopath. He seems to enjoy lying and fooling people. He finds it entertaining that no one calls him out. Both he and Blake seem to lie to protect their egos. Narcissists can't accept that they've done something wrong, so they shift blame, make up stories, and create false narratives to maintain their image. And if you're hoping they'll ever own up to their actions, don't hold your breath. Trust me. I've been sued twice by malignant narcissists. It was the worst experience of my life, and I know how damaging it is. That's part of why I stay committed to covering this story. There's a court reporter there. Once you get into the deposition, they have 7 hours in federal court, so they could take all 7 hours to ask you a lot of questions, a ton generally, before you go into a deposition. Baldoni or Lively sides will provide each side with the documents of evidence that they may be using when they ask questions, and these same documents can be used to then refresh your memory. So if they have a question about a specific contract or a specific email or a specific text, they will generally have all of that available to you and given to you ahead of time so that you can review and be prepared. And being prepared going into a deposition makes it better for you because you spend a lot less time if you cooperate. Cooperating in a deposition is incredibly crucial because if you choose not to, the opposing counsel has the ability to make the experience much more difficult for you. They can prolong the session and even behave in an unkind or aggressive way. When you're sitting in a deposition, it's just you alone being interrogated. You'll be both examined and cross-examined, and although your attorney can object, there's no judge present to make a ruling in real time. That means, even after an objection, you still must respond. It's similar to being in a trial, except here, cross-examination often happens first. Usually the opposing counsel begins with their line of questioning, and afterward, your attorney may step in to ask questions that clarify your previous answers or add additional context. So, if they manage to catch you with something during their cross-examination, your lawyer can then attempt to repair any damage by redirecting and asking clarifying questions. At times, they may pose inappropriate questions. Yes, that can happen. For example, they might ask a celebrity like Ryan Reynolds, "Is it true that you're gay?" His legal team could object by saying, "Objection, relevance." But even then, Ryan, while under oath, would still be required to answer the question. It becomes part of the record, regardless of whether it's later struck out or not. The judge won't decide on the objection until they review the deposition transcript. Because of how this process works, someone with a narcissistic or malicious personality might exploit it to put their opponent in embarrassing situations during questioning. This kind of strategy might be what Blake and Ryan's lawyers could use against Baldoni and Wayfair, attempting to depict them as extremely negative individuals. Hopefully, Balon's side won't engage in this behavior. But the reality is that prior statements made by Blake and her public appearances can all be used as evidence now. Anything she's said or done publicly since filing the lawsuit, including comments on shows like Seth Meyers, can be brought up against her. If, for instance, she told a false story about her daughter's birthday, they could use that to question her truthfulness. If she says she was joking, then they can ask whether she was joking then or joking now, which can undermine her credibility. In depositions, you swear to tell the truth under penalty of perjury. It's not just a formality. If you knowingly make a materially false statement while under oath, it can lead to criminal charges. Lying under oath is considered perjury and can result in up to 5 years of imprisonment, along with possible fines. Telling the truth is not only legally required, but also crucial for the outcome of your case. Getting caught in a lie can harm your credibility and damage your defense. Unless someone is a narcissist who compulsively lies, there's no advantage in being dishonest. Even a public figure like Taylor Swift is legally obligated to be truthful in a deposition. Some people try to avoid answering by using vague language like, "I don't recall," or "to the best of my knowledge." These kinds of phrases are often used to skirt around giving direct answers and can sometimes be hard to challenge legally. Saying "I believe" can be framed as expressing an opinion, which is harder to prove false. Still, despite such tactics, the more honest and transparent you are, the better it is for your case. Refusing to answer questions or being evasive can make you appear as though you are hiding something. That's why being cooperative, forthcoming, and calm, even in the face of hostile opposing attorneys, is extremely important. It's not always easy, but being non-combative is in your best interest. Someone asked whether they can plead the Fifth in a civil deposition. The answer is no. The Fifth Amendment only applies in criminal proceedings. In a civil case, you are not allowed to refuse to answer, even if the question involves potential criminal conduct. You may say, "I don't remember," but if there is a document, email, text, or contract that contradicts your statement, they will use it to refresh your memory. There are many ways they can ask the same question in different ways to get an answer. That's why, again, being honest is always the best approach. It also makes the process less painful for you and more straightforward for the attorney, assuming they are not intentionally trying to humiliate you. In this situation, Taylor can't avoid a deposition so easily. She might try to challenge the subpoena and argue she shouldn't have to testify. But if the opposing party believes she has material information relevant to their case, it's going to be tough for her to escape being deposed. Blake and Ryan will both have to be deposed. The issue for celebrities is that depositions expose them in ways that contradict their public image. Many public personas are carefully crafted PR fabrications, and when the reality of who a person truly is comes to light, it can damage reputations. Taylor, for instance, is seen as a wholesome pop star and America's sweetheart. But if anything emerges that doesn't align with that image, like smoking, drug use, alternative lifestyles, or involvement in shady dealings, it could severely damage her brand. No celebrity wants to be subjected to a deposition for this reason. It's not just about legal liability, but about reputation and public perception. Many celebrities are built on carefully protected images. PR agents work to present a version of the star that the public can admire, but depositions strip all of that away. That's why Blake's legal team might try to restrict access to deposition transcripts by labeling them as attorney's eyes only, meaning the public won't get to see them. The only chance the public would see any part of a deposition is if it's cited in court filings like a summary judgment, or if the case proceeds to trial and the witness must testify. Depositions can be so intense and invasive that they sometimes lead people to settle the case to avoid going through them. Right now, it seems many of the subpoenas are part of a strategy to pressure the parties involved. By involving celebrity friends and drawing them into the legal process, the hope might be to make the pressure unbearable. Taylor's team is saying she won't settle, but her friends might start asking whether being associated with her is worth it, especially if her claims of sexual harassment turn out to be false. If Taylor knows the allegations aren't true, she'll have to admit that under oath, which will only increase the pressure on others like Ryan and Blake. This kind of mounting pressure may eventually push Blake and Ryan toward a settlement. At some point, they will have to decide whether it's worth continuing. It's likely that Blake's side will settle before Justin and Wayfair because the latter face more serious accusations. Blake and Ryan, on the other hand, are not accused of sexual misconduct and therefore have less at stake. Wayfair and Justin may resist settling longer because they have more to lose. Despite public statements from their attorney Brian Freeman insisting they won't settle, it may eventually happen anyway due to all the pressure. So what do you think about all this? The lies, the tricks, the depositions, the PR illusions? Do you think something explosive is going to come out? Could Taylor have a secret that Blake desperately wants to keep hidden? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications so